and been like, is that a man? Is that a trans man? And it's not. It's just a woman. Because most of the ways that we evaluate each other is on the performance. So if they're attempting to pass, if their performance is an attemptive, I more or less know what they're going for. Interpersonally, I would respect that.
Try to each make your final points on this if you can. Hold on.
Andy in my AMJ donated $200. Fantastic debate. Thankfully we all agree Nala is a woman and she's fantastic. Would one of the females make the hangry lesbian a bowl of ramen and keep it moving? Thursday night football is on.
Actually, we can linger on this topic a little longer, but I don't think we got to your relationship status, and you didn't answer the what is a woman question. So very quickly, what is your current relationship status?
I'm single, but I'm looking.
So,
Did you answer the relationship status thing? Longest relationship?
3.5 years.
How long have you been single?
About 3 months.
Three months. Okay.
I was single when I came on last time, and I'm single now. So.
I see. Okay, gotcha. And then, what is a woman?
An adult female. I learned last time.
Adult human female?
Adult human female.
I see. Okay. If you guys want to continue, feel free.
So anyway, the ultimate point here is this.
Sure.
If I say woman and I mean adult female, right? And from the Christian perspective, and most religious perspectives, in fact, at least Abrahamic religion, are going to agree with this, right? They're going to say, nope, you're not this thing that you're not. We're not going to call you that. Obviously, it does us harm if we're compelled to do that, right? That's is causing us harm, whether you like it or not. So why should we, A, be compelled to do that?
I'm not saying you should.
Okay, I'm not saying that you are. And B, why is it that even if we were compelled, we shouldn't resist by not doing it on purpose at that point, just to kind of make a political statement and a social statement of like, nope, we're not going to conform to you kind of beating down our religious values here. And when it comes to your purposes, when you're talking about the T question, you're still kind of making the statement that I'm not sure, they can kind of be, they can kind of not be.
Nope.
So I'd like you to
Absolutely
clarify
not.
that for me.
Sure. So first of all, I've never argued for compelled speech. I think it's a violation of First Rights Amendments, I guess in America is what it's called. I don't believe in compelled speech. I think at the end of the day, you also have consequences for your free speech. So if you choose to call somebody who is clearly trying to perform in every single way as a woman, a man, they're probably going to think you're an asshole, and probably like 80% of the population.
What if you
will
called
too.
them male? Would that be...
It would be really weird interpersonally to like go up to somebody and be like, hello, male, or like in any way. Like most people would again cringe because they know what you're doing. They know that you're aesthetically trying to appeal to a political movement. So you're allowed to have any political field. You're allowed to be an asshole to people. You're allowed to politically, in kind of rejection, not use people's pronouns. I actually don't believe that this is required at all. The issue is people are also allowed to be like, you're kind of being an asshole.
That way, just a 10.
Yeah.
So then where do we go then when we're inside of society and you have a Christian-owned business who says, no, we're not going to give you or make suitable accommodations for your bathroom arrangements, whereas instead you can use this bathroom or this bathroom like everybody else has always done.
Yep.
Right?
I love capitalism.
Yeah,
I hope your business suffers as a result, and if it doesn't, that's great.
So
but I think
nothing compelled there.
No, I'm not really big on compelled stuff.
Okay, so
I think
if I could,
so this is just a semantic distinction then.
I would say almost wholly it is, excluding things like medical care, right? This is why I'm not pro self-ID.
Go ahead.
Can I just throw something in there? If you travel to any other country, and this is like my vote for the U.S. doing this, I think it would solve a lot of issues, but a lot of people would agree with me. Go to other countries, bathrooms are universal, and the sink is where everyone uses it.
I love European bathrooms.
Solves all problems.
I agree with you.
The fact that we have to worry about men and women's bathrooms, make it universal. Sink is in the front where everyone.
Well, you know something
Solve a
I've
lot of
seen.
problems.
I've seen that I object to as a man. Oftentimes when there used to be a woman's bathroom and a man's bathroom, what they end up doing is they'll switch the man's bathroom to an all-gender bathroom, but keep the woman's bathroom a woman's bathroom. So y'all are encroaching on the male bathrooms, the men bathroom. I'm very upset.
Y'all
I'm
pee fast, though.
I'm
You're in and
upset
out.
about it.
Yeah, you guys never have bathroom lines.
Just to be clear, any inconsistent application of things, I'll just side with you. Yeah, we shouldn't do those things, obviously. It's basically benevolent sexism. It's kind of weird. It's like,
So when you get into the medical arena here,
Sure.
let's dive into this.
Okay.
So you're saying definitely in society you don't care, right? Doesn't matter if my viewpoint is this way, you're not going to try to make anything which compels me to do anything opposite of that. You don't believe probably I should be deplatformed, for instance, about speaking out against stuff like that? Probably not.
But
Okay.
if you incite hate speech or violence against them,
Yeah,
that's
I
different.
get it.
Yes.
I think that's a
Yeah, yeah.
distinction. But moving into this on the medical field, what are the things you want to see there? What are the things you're wanting to see there, Kaiwa?
Yeah. So the things that I would like to see are, for example, no self-ID and a pretty rigorous process by which we like determine these things. I think I haven't got into any of the neuroscience stuff when it comes to definitions, because it's really important to understand how definitions function. But AI has done like crazy stuff for leading us forward in as far as neuroscience. I believe you're born trans. I don't believe that this is like a choice or anything like that. And I think if you're choosing to be it, you're doing it for political reasons, popularity reasons, or something, probably mental illness specifically related, right? It seems to be the case that...
Okay, can we back up just briefly so
Yep.
we don't move into
Yep,
too
you're
many
good.
things? You say that you think people are born trans.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm
Why?
so questioning that.
I would say we have really strong literature showing like the historicity of some sort of trans issues going back hundreds of years. There's absolutely been these things. This is part of where autogynephilia
That's not
came out
good
of.
evidence for you being born trans, though.
Another
could
thing
have
would be things
environmental
like
factors.
heritability, right? So I think there's a high level of like genetic comorbid factors that are associated with being trans. There seems to be some level of predictability with estrogen levels. Is it born as far as like epigenetic versus just genetic? It's probably more in the epigenetic direction. Another really big marker that it's probably born in.
So you're talking about environmental factors impacting this in a great way as well.
No, epigenetic factors is not environmental factors
No,
alone.
that's not what I asked. I asked if you're talking about environmental factors affecting this as well, or if you think it's mostly just a genetic thing.
I mean, anything mental health is going to be complicated. Probably both of these things are playing in, but probably when it comes to trans, more you need to have like a genetic. It's like a pre-requirement, maybe is the best way to say it.
Yeah. Well,
You're
I'm not talking
pre-required
about,
to have the genes
So
for it.
let me clarify. So I'm not talking about the alcoholic who they have a predisposition towards alcohol, but absent the alcohol, they never become an alcoholic. What I'm asking for here is if you think that particular circumstance of the movement towards the thing
Yeah.
is the genetic disposition, or if there's a different genetic disposition where they're actually born with this disposition to want to move into another body or whatever the mental illness is.
Based on the earliness of where dysphoria seems to emerge, I suspect that it's going to be like probably still epigenetic to some degree, but I'm going to be clear, the literature is still out on this one, on, just to be clear, every single thing to do with the brain. So it's a really hard question to answer.
You
I
mean
think
like the trans brain scans and all that?
Yeah, sure. The trans brain scans where it's like, are they the same as women's brains? And it's like some research said yeah, some said no. Right? This is a really unsolved problem, but it does seem highly genetic. Starting at 3, any sort of like mental thing that begins that early is very suspicious for high levels of genetic involvement.
So then how come when you see this movement, then in other cultures, you see it in distinctly different ways? If you're pre-programmed, for instance, in the West, to be a male who's born and wants to be a woman, wants to be a female, why is it that you respond in a distinctly different way than you would in a different culture? In other words, why is it that if you're born Scottish, you don't want to get in a kilt, right? This is the question.
Why do you think that the kilt is in any ways comparable to like gender identity?
Because of presentation, which is what you said, is
Do you
the
think that
mark of gender and ID is presentation. So why is it that they always want to present like a Western filled up girl who looks like kind of a skank on Instagram versus what a woman would look like in Saudi Arabia, for
Wait,
instance?
so do you think trans people just don't exist outside of Western countries?
That's
Is
not
that
what I
He's
asked.
saying that it's like an aesthetic that they put on. Are you telling me that you honestly believe that wearing a kilt is similar to becoming trans? Do you
Well,
think that
what
they're
I'm
the
saying
same?
is that...
Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that if it's aesthetics that we're looking at, and that's what you claim gender actually is an aesthetic presentation towards a thing,
I didn't say transgenderism ideology is that thing. I said the way that I define gender is performance. These are not the
yeah,
same
but
thing.
performance is what? Isn't that the aesthetic?
Well, no, the performance is in large part aesthetic, but you're now
Yeah.
asking me about ideology. We
Yeah,
can't,
so that's what I'm asking you.
What
is
is
like,
ideology?
how do you know that the way that these are presented,
Mm-hmm.
right, in the West, if you were put in a different environment, in a different country,
will they become Fa'afafine like the Samoans?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a valid question, but it's not similar to a kilt. And I don't think that these things are analogous in any way. And we can't pretend like they are. The actual thing about Fa'afafine shows probably the way that they express societally is pretty open up to society. But the Fa'afafine are a third gender.
Yeah,
That's
so
how
that
their
ought to
society
put,
reconciled
well,
it.
so I mean, just that alone, just that statement, that the environment's going to greatly impact whether or not you even present
No.
with the opposition
No,
of gender.
that's not what I've said.
Okay, well then why don't you rephrase it?
Okay, let's go back. What is ideology?
Well, who cares? Go back to my question.
What is ideology?
No, wait. hang on, you're moving back too far.
No.
The previous statement that you just made was what?
The previous statement that I said was